How many stoners does it take to screw in a light bulb? I don't fucking know. What's up, y'all? Welcome to The Highway with Kyle Shutt. I am your host, Kyle Shutt, and I came here for one reason this week, to talk to my good friend Juan Montoya from Torche and Monstro and his new band, Moon Destroys. We're going to hear a new song from them later. All these conversations have been super fun to record. I'm basically just calling up everybody in my contacts list and, well, just hearing what they have to say. And I hope you're all enjoying it. If you like what you hear, if you could give us a follow or subscribe on the YouTube page, that helps us out a lot. And if you want to go one step further, you can find us at patreon.com/thehighway, and you can get rad perks like getting yourself a shout out on the show or get a postcard from me in the mail, or you could even be like Ryan Kurt and join the 6-pack shout out club. He put a 6-pack of beer in my fridge this week, and I can't thank him enough for it. But I'd love to give a shout out to some of our other patrons like David Moore, Marta Peterson, Colton Waite, Dan Percival, and Campbell Swanson. We couldn't do what we do without y'all. We really appreciate it. We've also got to give some mad love to our sponsors, Heil Sound. If you like the way I sound, it's because there's a Heil in front of me. Now, I could talk about everybody that I love all day, but I'd rather talk to Juan. You know, why don't we just do it his way this week? I'm just kidding. You know we're going to do things my way.
The Highway.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Hey, Kyle. Pleasure talking to you, man. What's going on?
Hell yeah, Juan Montoya, one of my favorites of all time, from Torche, Monstro, Moon Destroys, too many projects.
It's fun.
You've been in too many bands, Juan.
Like Tony Montana says, sometimes it's fun.
That's a true Florida quote, too. But yeah, man, are you still in Florida right now, or are you back in Atlanta?
Enjoying the weather. It's really cool at night, and
I bet.
I just kind of stay home, and luckily I have a big backyard, so, you know, and the neighborhood I'm in, I just cross the street, and it's like, it's a really calm, you know, nice houses, calm people, you know, people just walking their dogs. There's no crazy cars running through the neighborhood, so yeah, it's pretty cool. I just want to stay away from people at this point.
I like that.
You know, I'm kind of laying low. People are not taking care of themselves, man.
I think everybody does.
It's easy. Just either stay home or wear your goddamn mask. Yeah, you know, and then we'll be able to play shows.
That's always been my rule number one of life.
I'll be happy again.
I can't wait. It's I'm such a long game kind of guy. I always used to plan my life out, you know, like 6 months ahead of time and just sort of like keep that ball rolling. But it's impossible these days. I've been forced to live one day at a time, which I guess has been good for me.
Well, I mean, you're a father.
Yeah,
I'm a father too. Oh, we're going through that.
I know.
We're going through something.
But it wasn't always that way. Oh man, we used to tear it up, have a good time. Let's talk about that, man, because I want to talk about Florida as far as music goes, because it's a very big state, a whole lot of people there, but it's extreme. It's very far removed from most of the country, and it's very difficult for most touring bands to get down there on a regular basis. You know, like, I mean, the Sword, we killed ourselves on tour, but we would only make it to Florida maybe about once every what felt like 3 to 4 years or something like that. And we would, you know, go in and get as much as we could done. But Florida's one of those states that anytime you announce a tour routing, everyone's like, oh, you skipped Florida again.
Everybody skips Florida.
Know, but,
everybody skips
what was it
Florida.
like?
Florida,
go ahead. Sorry.
There's nothing going on, you know. Miami, if you want to take a vacay and, you know, hang out by the pool or by the beach, have some drinks. I mean, it's pretty much a vacation spot. It's not really like, you know, the culture here is like everybody coming to visit, but it's not really like, you know, it's not really, you know, there's the land culture, which is super cool, but for rock and roll, it's a little bit, a few bands, one nightclub that really plays rock music, and that's it. You know, most bands over here, they try to move up and get on tour, you know, get on the road and try to experience the outside the outside states, which have a little bit more going for them musically.
It makes for a great show environment though, because every time we did make it to Florida, every show was a banger and people just went ape shit.
Totally
there's
hungry,
definitely
man.
people that are
It's
hungry
like-
for it down there.
It's like the Sword playing in town is like the highlight of the year for most people.
I think the closest we ever made it to Miami was Fort Lauderdale,
The
right?
culture
the
room.
Culture Club. Is
Yeah.
that what it was called?
That place
Culture
is set
room?
up kind of weird. That used to
Yeah.
be like an old school discotheque back in the days. So Miami did have a scene back then, but it was like a dance scene. It's everything that stemmed from like the Bee Gees to Casey and the Sunshine Band and all that stuff. And then in the 60s, late 60s and early 70s, it did have a cool soul, like almost like a Motown sound. That was really cool. And part of that scene was the artist that most people know as Blowfly, but his name's Clarence Reed, and he had really beautiful songs, like
Yep.
Motown, beautiful ballads and funky songs. But then when he did Blowfly, he turned into like a freak at night, and he yeah. For most people, I don't know who he is. It's this guy who had a soul career, and then at night he would do like these after-hour shows, dressed like in this superhero outfit, but there was like Blowfly. So he had antennas and a mask, and he was like the original dirty rapper, And this way before Two
Totally.
Live Crew. So, yeah.
Like decades before. Yeah, I mean, like Blowfly's ABCs, and there's shitting off the dock of the bay.
So that guy had that cool career
Oh my God.
back in the 70s, 60s, 70s, and then in the 80s and 90s, it kind of like he got a little bit of old. He got old. He also sold his rights because he needed money. He sold his all his publishing, and dude, it's crazy because now there's acts like Beyonce who are sampling his music, and he's not getting it. He didn't get a cut. He passed away a few years ago, but he never got a cut from that.
Yeah.
Like one of the world's biggest artists is sampling his music, and
Yeah.
he sold it for like 30 grand or 50 grand back then, just so he could go.
There's so many stories like that too, of like artists like that just sold it.
But he's definitely one of the best artists here, and
yeah.
of course the Bee Gees. The Bee Gees are they live like probably like 15 minutes away from me. I just crossed the bridge and I'm on the beach, and Barry has his house over there. He's the last remaining brother, and man, super nice guy. I know him and his son, and Stephen Gibb, who played with Zakk Wylde, and he also played in Crowbar. Stephen Gibb's son is Barry Gibb's son is Stephen
What?
Gibb.
Are you serious?
Who played in all those heavy bands. He's a metalhead. Yeah. So
I had no idea.
That's what's cool about Miami. That's what I really like. Some of the older music.
And also, like, I guess, I don't know if this is true really, but like the lack of, I think, a big rock scene there made the rock bands there very extreme, because you got bands like, Assuck or Iced Earth, and then Floor from those days, and then it just all that whole scene of bands was just super extreme. Death was from there. Am I wrong about that? The other Death, not
Tampa Bay
Death.
But,
Death.
yeah.
And but even like between Marilyn Manson coming from out of Miami and everything like that, it's just everything from Florida is just super extreme.
It's pretty cool. It has its moments. There's a lot of hidden gems from down here. There was a band called Quit, who I felt they could have been like Green Day. They were a melodic band who kind of sounded. I don't know if you ever got into Doughboys from Canada. They had that sound. They also sounded like Descendants.
Yeah, I didn't even touch on the punk side of Florida too, because everything out of Gainesville and all that kind of stuff.
Cool.
It's just
So
it
Quit,
was just so much.
If you guys
music
could,
in there.
get a chance, check them out. Super, kind of poppy, poppy power pop. I guess you could call it power pop. And and then there was Jobber Now, that was great, and then of course Discount. The singer of Discount, I forgot her name though, Alyssa, I think. She ended up playing in the Dead Weather with that guy.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that guy, White Stripe guy.
Jack White.
Yeah, goth boy.
Oh god,
Goth boy.
what was I gonna say too? Judd too was from.
Oh
Florida.
yeah. I think that was Steve Heritage from Massuck. I think he recorded that.
And if nobody knows what Judd is, it was just two guys that literally just went Judd. It was completely a cappella grindcore.
Yeah, they did. I think they did everything. Did they do solos or just the rhythms?
Oh yeah, like wheelie. Yeah, the shit was crazy. Fucking Florida. But you were into Kiss.
Into Kiss? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Still into Kiss.
Oh man.
I mean, you know,
one of my favorite bands. I've never got to see them.
Oh, you never.
But
I
know.
Didn't you play
it's
with
one
them?
Of those things.
You got me.
No, we were supposed to do a festival one time, and the Canadian border denied our entry, and so I was unable to see Kiss at the Heavy Montreal Festival, and I will never let Canada forget that.
Oh,
but that's
man.
fine. I'm over it now. But yeah, that was my one chance I would have got to see him. We toured so much back in the day. I didn't really get a chance to see many other shows. I got to see a lot, don't get me wrong, but there's a handful of things that I never got to see that I wish I would have.
Yeah, like when I was touring all the time, I remember when we were in Europe, My Bloody Valentine were in the States, and then when we came back, then they went back to tour Europe, and I haven't seen them at that time. I didn't see when they reunited till like a little bit later on. Mm-hmm. But man, it was cool. I finally got to see them in New York. I flew up to New York to see them. And it was cool. It was super loud, and
I was gonna say it was one of the loudest shows I've ever seen. Just like to the point where like I could feel my chest, like I could like feel the sound waves like going through my body. Like, good lord.
Yeah, man. And imagine, like, I saw them also in 1991. They played Orlando right next to the Sapphire Supper Club, which I think we played together in Orlando one time. I believe it was there.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
But I saw them open up for Dinosaur Jr., man. It's crazy. It felt like they were super loud, My Bloody Valentine, but then it felt like, you know, Jay Mascis ended up having to turn up his guitar louder just to outplay them. You know, so
yeah, totally. Because that's a loud band too. Yeah,
dude. I mean, they're loud, but at that point, they were like hearing damage loud.
The last time I saw Dinosaur Jr., Jay Mascis had 3 Marshall stacks as his rig, and then he had a Fender Twin pointed at his head as a monitor.
Yeah, man.
It was just like fucking ridiculous.
Man, that guy must hear crickets throughout the night trying to go to sleep, just like like frequencies just popping.
Bing! Yeah, you know, like my god.
Cool.
But let's get back to when I first met you, because I can't remember what the first show was, but Torche was on.
It was Tampa.
Your first album. We were on our first album, the Tampa Skate Park. That's right.
And yeah, you guys brought along Tarantula AD. Is that right?
That's right.
And dude, it was cool, man, because first of all, them opening up, I think they opened up and they were awesome. So it wasn't like a tour that one of the bands was kind of weaker than the other. Everybody was sick. Everybody was really.
We were all
cool.
super different from each other too. Yeah, like Tarantula AD. If y'all at home don't remember, they were a trio, but one of the members played the cello or the violin or anything kind of like stringed like that. The other guy,
Danny,
the singer, played guitar. Yeah, Danny and Sonder, who they both do soundtrack work now. They did the score for Ozark and a couple other things. But the drummer Greg Rogov. He went on to do a bunch of stuff with Devendra Banhart, like Megapuss and stuff. So they were a really fucking talented trio that just played really super unique, like cinematic rock music, I guess you could call it. It was just really, they were so
yeah, they leaned
then,
towards Floyd more than Black Sabbath, you know?
Totally, absolutely.
They were like they had the super slow, mellow, trippy songs that were great, man. Great songs. Mm-hmm. And I remember the drummer had a great drum set that was like multicolored Vista. How do you say Vista light?
It was a Vista light, but I think it was I might be wrong, but I think it was like the sample kit, because like the old Vistalite dealers would drive around with a drum that was like every color of the rainbow, and it was so that dealers could see each color that they could buy. But the sample kit was the one that had every color in it all the way down. Like I think he had one of those, and it was just like just bizarre drum kit.
Yeah, and with Danny on cello, and I think Sander had like a double neck guitar, and they were just really nice guys. Yeah. Really nice guys. And dude, yeah, that Tampa show was cool, and of course that's where I met ASG, and I'm still very good friends with the guys.
God, they were on that tour too. That's right. They weren't. That was kind of before ASG was like had more of like a stoner kind of heavy band. They were more of like a street punk kind of band at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
I think after that tour, they were influenced by all of us. You know.
I think
and
so too.
All of us were influenced by them. So that's a cool part about touring, is that you know, after you do a long tour like that, you know, and hearing each other's music every single night, it's then when you start writing your own music, the influence starts coming in, you know. It's
hard not to, you know, because I mean, I've toured with a few of your bands too, where like it was us, Monstro, and the Caius Lives reunion, and that was another one where you just like you know you play 40 shows with Caius, you know, you just can't help but like kind of get into that funky kind of groove.
Dude, I know, man. You know, that's when I bought myself some shakers, shakers and tambourines and stuff like that, and I started braiding my hair. Just kidding. But yeah, man. I mean, seeing what's the bass player again? I can't believe I forgot his name.
Oh well, it was Nick Oliveri in the States.
Yeah.
And this, Scott Reeder did the Canadian.
Scott Reeder's a great guy. And yeah, dude. And Nick, he had that element of danger all the time. He was like super nice.
That was right after, it was right after his home got raided by the SWAT team in LA. And like we were like, is this tour happening? I don't know. And then it was fine. He just couldn't go to Canada.
Yeah.
So yeah, you never knew what was going to happen around that dude.
Yeah, he had this intense look. Like on stage, he was like a god on stage. Because he would stand there with his bass super low, and then his eyebrows are like intense, and his eyes are like looking into the heart of, looking into the heart, not of darkness, but like just the weird kingdom, the trippy kingdom.
Yeah. I blew his mind one time because he liked the Sword, and he would watch us play or watch our soundtracks or whatever. And one day after soundcheck, he came over to me, and he goes, "Man, y'all sound like Lynyrd Skynyrd on speed." And I looked at him. I said, "Nick, Lynyrd Skynyrd was on speed."
Yep.
You can see his brain like folding half.
Yep. Another Florida band.
Like,
band. Lynyrd Skynyrd.
That's right.
The Florida band.
Right.
Those guys were awesome. Yeah, but Nick, I mean, he just was on stage and he stood there and just like he destroyed the place, man. That guy sounded. Because
he played
great.
two refrigerator cabinets, like two Ampegs on their sides. You know what I mean? So it was just a wall of low end coming up from that dude. He had a killer tone too.
Yeah, man. It's like a fucking monster truck on that side of the stage. And the guitarist that was touring with him, he was really cool too, man. Yeah,
Bruno. We'd always hook up with him whenever we would go to Belgium. He was from Belgium, so anytime we would play Antwerp or whatever, he'd always come out and we'd party and have a good time.
Man, has he been in the States recently?
I don't know. The last time I saw him, I think would have been on the High Country tour. That would have been 2015. So it's been a minute. God dang.
Man.
6 years?
He was really good, man. He had a good feel. And he was like one of those Jimmy Page kind of calm, quiet guys. And then he would just tear it up, man. Really cool sound. He played Les Pauls, which I dig.
Totally.
And, did he also play an SG or just the Les Paul?
I think he just played the Les Paul. He had like the 3 pickup Les Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
but that was a fun tour because most bands drive around in vans or bandwagons or whatever, bigger bands, or if you just want to spend all your money, you can get a bus. But Monstro bought a Winnebago and gutted the whole thing and did a tour like that. How was that, man?
Man, it was pretty cool because my experiences touring before Monstro was 4 or 5 dudes piled up in a van with all the equipment inside the van, like a cargo van, and we kind of like we had a whole full stack in between. We pulled out the first front seat, the first row, and then we lay flat, and then we used that as a bed. And yeah, it was like sardines in a can. It was crazy. Yep. It was just like you get so agitated because someone's so close to you all the time. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't have any personal space. You know, your personal bubble is always bursted. And yeah, so then, you know, Kyle and Charlie and Bevan, who played in Monstro with me, those guys are like 6'2", 6'4".
They were tall dudes, yeah.
Yeah, and I felt like the Kurt Cobain next to Chris. You know, because I'm shorter, and I'm like, God, these guys. So of course they can't tour in a smaller van because it's just like impossible. They wouldn't be able to do that. So they get, you know, Kyle's from the South, so they go camping a lot. So he ended up getting in, you know, and we toured with it, which was cool. But then he also, you know, goes with his family and they go camping. So he gets.
He still has it?
I don't know if he has it. He might have. Oh, okay. Because he ended up joining Hell Yeah, and I think Vinny at the time had his own tour bus company. Mm-hmm. So they just went on that, and I think he just sold it. But it was cool, man. It was nice. It was nice to have a bathroom in there, and but unfortunately, it always smells bad no matter what. Like, you know, so even someone taking a leak, it's just like you smell it all over, and I'm like, oh man. It's just like you're eating a sandwich and then you smell that. It's like it's kind of funky, but it was cool, man. It was cool. The only thing is that, you know, parking was always hard. And when we traveled, we usually left after the shows with Monstro, so we didn't really stay up and party and stay in someone's floor. We stayed in the RV, which was a lot more comfortable. And then, you know, we would find a Walmart or something, and we could park in the Walmart because all these truckers could park outside of Walmarts. And we just slept there, and then, you know, woke up and grabbed something to eat at Walmart, which you could save a little bit more money. Because when I did the tours with Torche, those guys, they would stop and they would get Taco Bell every fucking day, man. It drove me fucking nuts, man. It's either, you know, because two of the guys were vegetarian, and that was like the only thing they could eat. But I'm like, dude, you know, when I started touring with Monstro, we already figured out that, you know, Kyle ended up taking a grill, like a small grill with him. So we would go to Walmart, buy real food, and eat real food. And that was great. I'm like, damn, I'm finally in a fucking band.
Right. The Sword only did that one time. We the first time we played Bonnaroo, we rented one of those like Cruise Across America RVs.
Yeah.
And bought a little Weber grill, and we just stopped at the whatever Albertsons, I think, in Memphis, like right on the way to Manchester, Tennessee, and just like hung out at Bonnaroo for a few days, just ate a bunch of drugs and made a bunch of cheeseburgers all the time.
Yeah, it's the best.
It is fun.
The best.
It is the best.
Especially Bonnaroo had a cool backstage area. Like the weather was always nice around that time, and the catering was awesome. They had a juice machine, and at that time I was juicing a lot, so you know, I'm there drinking all these juices, and then I'm hanging out with London May from Sam Hain. And dude, I asked him, I'm like, because that guy doesn't age. He's like a true vampire. And then I asked him, I'm like, dude, what's your secret, man? He goes, I don't eat meat and I don't do drugs, and that's why he still looks like a 35-year-old, and he's in his 50s. So
there you go.
Yeah.
God, Bonnaroo is so fun, or massive festivals like that can be awesome because backstage, like, especially Bonnaroo or some of the more high-profile ones, like, there's just random celebrities that'll just be hanging out, like the Olsen twins or whatever. I remember tripping on acid, and hanging out in the backstage area, looking at the porta potty line, and there was just like Ron Jeremy, Les Claypool, like these like random mega super famous people, like all in line for the porta potty. I'm sitting there just tripping like, whoa!
Oh man, so Ron Jeremy, the fucking fuck! What a fuck up! He fucked it all up. He was like, it's funny because I would run into him when I would go to the Rainbow Bar in Sunset Strip. and the dude was always like macking on some girl, trying to hit on some girl all the time. And then I heard from like people that worked there, it's like he would take, like, guys would take their wives up there for him to for them to give Ron some head, you know, just to say that my wife sucked Ron Jeremy's, you know, cock.
Damn.
Just weird shit went on in that place, man.
Takes all kinds, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
But,
No.
yeah, but Bonnaroo, it was awesome. When we did Bonnaroo, we did it with we were on the tour with Danzig, and he was doing the Legacy, the Sam Hain and Misfits sets. So
That's
it was
awesome.
cool, and I became really good friends with Doyle. And dude, Doyle's such a nice guy, man. He looks intimidating, you know, but he was super nice, man. I got to hang out. We watched Alice Cooper together, and he picked me up and shook me because he was so excited. He was like, he shook me while he was singing the song to me, you know, face to face.
Oh my god. That's fucking badass.
Yeah. But dude, yeah, the tours that we did, the Caius tour was cool, and then you know,
I think one of my favorite tours that we ever did, you and I did together, was the Sword, Torche, and Stinking Lizaveta.
oh dude, you introduced me to those guys. You were like,
I know, if nobody knows who they are, Stinking Lizaveta is one of those bands that just like blew my mind when I was like 18 or 19 going to shows at Emos. I don't even remember who I was going to see, who they were opening for. I just remember seeing this band like, you know, a few times on the reg. They used to tour quite a bit more. And they're just like this freak out jazz metal kind of thing. The girl drummer Cheshire, she was just awesome. And the two brothers that played, the bass player played like an electric stand-up bass, and Yanni, the guitar player singer, they didn't really sing too much, but he just wielded a Les Paul like a god. I mean, like he did shit on guitar that just completely, utterly blew me away, and I've definitely like ripped off a lot of my tricks from him over the years. And us bringing them out on tour with y'all, it was just one of those like 3-band bills that it was just guitar devastation.
yeah, man, meeting them was definitely like one of my favorite things about being on tour. You know, I rooted for them every night. I stood in front of them and I just like, you know, danced and fucking shook my head and fucking, it was fucking cool, man. And you know what was also cool, like another cool thing was that the drummer, she would set up a yoga mat backstage and she would do yoga.
That's
and
right.
this before most I think anybody like the music, or before influencers or anything like that. Like I have one friend that started doing yoga when she was 12 years old, because she would watch it on PBS. There was like
Right.
somebody that taught yoga on PBS, and now it's like all these influencers are like, they think they're yoga spiritual people, and then they put on all these corny ass music behind their yoga. it's like horrible, like going to a spin class or something. But dude, yeah, she was doing it, and her, you know, from her it was from the heart. I could tell, dude. It wasn't like trend.
Absolutely.
You know, she was like backstage doing it while everybody was smoking weed and drinking, and she's there like in this fucking warrior pose. And it was cool, man. And I should have done it with her, because I would have probably like felt a lot better nowadays, you know? Like my back's torn up from playing guitar, dude, and you know, carrying a Les Paul or an Explorer. It just tears your back. So, yeah, I should have done yoga. I would have had a stronger back for all that.
I actually remember on that tour being so sick.
Yeah.
The last show of the tour, it was Rudyard's in Houston, and the show was so hot. I thought I was gonna die. Like after the show, I had the club take me to the beer cooler so I could just sit in there so I could like physically cool down. And I didn't know what was wrong. So when I got home, I went to the doctor, and it turns out I had walking pneumonia for like the last week.
Oh,
I didn't know that was. I had pneumonia before, but I didn't know what walking pneumonia was, and I was literally on death's door.
Damn, dude.
Just like, maybe I should stop drinking whiskey and, you know, like hacking up loogies all the time. You know, I don't know. I should have taken a cue from her. Be just a little healthier. But that was a long time ago. That was a long, long time ago.
Yeah, man.
But
I also loved Chicago when we played the Subterranean. That was cool.
Oh yeah.
I remember the backstage was like on the last floor of the building. It was like a multi.
I was gonna say it's called the Subterranean, but it's the 3 flights of stairs up to the club.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, and then I remember we were smoking weed, and it was like a small little room that faced the whole strip, like you could look out the window, and it was cool,
Yeah,
man. It was cool. It was always cool to be in Chicago. I love that city. And
yeah, me too, man.
And then we also did. What else did we do? We did that.
Too many shows. I mean, I can't remember them all. Where did we play in New York? Was it like
the Hall of
Webster?
Williamsburg? I think.
Bowery. Oh, or Music Hall. Was it still North 6 back then? Maybe, or it might have just
Sticks,
changed over to Music
Sticks.
Hall. Something like that.
Yeah, New York's cool, man. I always did cool shit in New York too. It's like you play the show and then everything's open late. So after you do the long load in or whatever, not the load in but the load out, you know, everybody's gone, but then you go to a bar and everybody's still there. It's cool when you walk.
We used to go to Duff's back in the day, when it was still on, I think like 2nd and Kent or something like that. The original Duff's.
Yeah, you introduced me to the owner.
Bar.
The owner was some big dude.
Yeah, old Jimmy Duff, man. He drives around New York City in a hearse.
Yeah, man.
Just smoking J's of dirt weed, like just constantly. Like the guy. He actually, we were hanging out in there one night. I don't know if it was when we were with y'all. It might have been. He was like, "Oh God, I love y'all Texas boys," and he goes, "Tell you what, hang on real quick." And he asked the bartender. He said, "See that bottle of Crown up there on the mantle? Give it to me." And the bartender kind of looked at him like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Yeah, give it to me." So he takes this bottle of Crown down.
Top shelf, bro.
And
top shelf.
Right. Pops it open and he tells us, he's like, "Yeah, hell yeah." I'm sorry, it wasn't hell yeah. I'm sorry. Damage Plan came through New York, and all the boys came over here afterward to party. And this was Dime's bottle of Crown. He was just drinking straight out the bottle that night, and he left it here whenever they had to leave. And so I corked it and put it up on the mantle. And like 2 weeks later, he got shot and died. And he said that bottle had been up on that mantle ever since. And he, because we were from Texas and he loved the sword, he took that bottle down and let us all take a little shot out of it, passing it around. So that was something really special.
Yeah, man, that's cool. That's super cool. That's straight from, you know, that's very spiritual, man. That's cool. That's a good vibe right there, man.
For real, yeah. That bar did have to move, but it's still really cool. If anybody's in Brooklyn right now, I don't know if it's open with the state of the world, but if it is, and you really need a drink, they do have a little patio. Just go down there and get you a little, blacktooth grin. Have a good time.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. And also, you know, playing your hometown. You're in New York now, right? You're still in New York? Or?
No, I bounced around. My story's a little crazy. I was in Brooklyn for a little while. I moved back to Austin whenever I found out I was going to be a father, and I thought I'd be saving some money, but I was dead wrong. I ended up, I don't know, I could talk about this for an hour at least, but the housing market in Austin is just crazy expensive. All the artists are getting priced out. So I bought an Airstream travel trailer, a 30-foot RV, and a truck, for, you know, a third of what a dump of a house would have cost me. And I just kind of hit the road with the family after we had the kid. Well, our daughter was about 18 months old, and we just we took it all the way up the West Coast, up to a town in Oregon called Yachats.
That's awesome.
I hung out there for a little while. It was great, dude. And I ended up coming back to Austin because I was going to open a bar, and that was going to be sort of my, you know, main income stream so that I could do music on the side, because newsflash, music doesn't really make a lot of money anymore. But and then I've said this before, but then COVID kind of wiped out our plans to open that establishment.
Yeah, it's horrible, man.
So we hung out for a while. I'm actually in Savannah, Georgia right now. We just kind of, I couldn't stay in Austin anymore. Watching the whole city kind of evaporate was really heartbreaking. And I mean, it's still there, but it's just not the same as it used to be. And I spent, you know, almost 20 years of my life there. So
yeah,
I thought I would just get the hell out and go somewhere beautiful. And you'd be hard pressed to find a more beautiful city than Savannah, Georgia, if you have to be stuck somewhere.
Yeah, man.
So, I would fortunately, I got a home on wheels.
Yeah, I would go visit all the time, and then we would always play the Jinx. I think we played the Jinx together in Savannah.
I think we did. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that place was cool. And
well, it's not there anymore, unfortunately. But yeah, that was really, really good times playing that.
Yeah,
club.
it's a romantic town.
It is.
Yeah, everybody goes there to get married too.
Got the Spanish moss just blowing in the breeze. It's hard not to feel like you're in a magical place when you're in Savannah, Georgia.
But then there's the dark side, which is it was Baroness and Kylesa and Black Tusk.
And Kylesa, yeah. Uh-huh.
That's the dark side. Dude, one night, it was so funny, man. We were on tour with Baroness, and we played their hometown. And I think we stayed at Summer's house. Summer lived with somebody else. I think the line or something like that. We stayed with them at their house. But they wanted to go out and party, and we were, like, exhausted. We were, like, ready to come home. I know it's kind of lame, but we were just sitting there in the place, and there was no AC, so we're there, and all of a sudden, like, little by little, we realized, holy shit, we're fucking sweating. It's hot as hell. And it's unbearable. Like, we're looking at each other, like, in slow motion, because it's just, like, incredibly hot inside the house.
It's oppressive heat there in the summertime, yeah.
Yeah, and even with the window open, it was still super hot. So what I did is I grabbed my sleeping bag, and I just went on the front porch, and I just tried to lay it out and sleep there. But, so I'm there, like, in the front of the house, but then all of a sudden, like, I realized that my whole sleeping bag was covered in cockroaches. During the summer, it's just like cockroaches all over the city, man.
Oh my god. And mosquitoes too, I'm sure.
Yeah, man. It was crazy. God. We kind of had to, like, just get up and kind of, like, with our tails between our legs and say, yeah, dude, we're going to fucking just get a room this night. We're going to... Because we couldn't sleep, man. We were exhausted. It was the ending of a tour.
Oh, God.
It's one of those nights. Yeah, so that was funny as shit. I held up the sleeping bag, and I just shook it, and you see tons of fucking cockroaches fly out. Disgusting.
Oh, God, I know. Wow. Yeah, tour life. Not nearly as glamorous as most people think it is.
Yeah, dude.
I don't know. I feel like the jig is up these days. Most people know that it was a brutal existence, but that's what gave us an edge. You know what I mean? It's extreme living. You know what I mean? Made you play more extreme and made you just better than every other band. And I think that's why our scene of bands, that kind of came around after, music videos weren't being played anymore. After. iTunes sort of devalued record sales and that, all that. It was the thing that just kind of kept us all going. Yeah, I think was just that nomadic life on the road, and that life is not easy, and it just makes you just grumpy and gruff and just better at what you do because you live for that show. You put up with that whole, 23 hours in between shows just to live for that 1 hour you get to play, and yeah, there's nothing like it. I miss it.
Yeah, man, it was like levitating into another planet. It felt amazing, like being on stage. It feels amazing, and goddamn, I miss it so much. I mean, every single musician that comes out of their mouth, they're like, God, I wish I could play. I think it's cool that a lot of people are doing the online, like filming themselves and the songs. Everybody's doing covers, which is cool. Like I heard Charlie Bonatti do Red Barchetta, and that was fucking cool.
Oh, damn,
yeah,
really?
Rush's Red Barchetta. And then...
that's sick.
And there's a bunch of people doing really cool Kiss covers also, like old school Kiss covers.
Uh-huh.
And, yeah, I mean, that's kind of fun. But then, there's no massive party after the show.
I know there's no show. Yeah, there's no, because I've been cranking out just some cover tunes just for fun too, just to kind of like just stay busy or keep my chops, up to speed and things like that. And it's just it can't compare. Don't get me wrong, I'm having fun doing it and everything, but God, there's nothing like just packing your bag, leaving your life behind, and hitting that open road.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I saw some beautiful places. I meeting a lot of my heroes. And
that's it too. Is like it's the I don't know. Sometimes I would sort of be questioning my motivation to like keep playing music. Be like, why am I still really in this to win it, or like why am I still doing this? And like it's if you stick with it, the further you go along, like you find yourself in the craziest positions. Where like you would never have been able to do that if you had like given up the game and stuff like that. just like whatever random crazy hero you get to meet, or like hilarious like celebrity story you end up with, or whatever. It's just like extreme living kind of breeds those extreme circumstances, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah. You know, being able to go to Japan, being able to go to Italy, being able to go to Australia, it's freaking crazy. Didn't you guys play in Russia with Metallica?
We did. I think it was the only time we made it to Russia. We played St. Petersburg with Metallica. That was a fucking crazy show because the Mafia was doing the security, and to sell your own, or I guess to sell records or T-shirts in Russia, the Mafia has to print your CDs and your T-shirts and everything, and they get a massive cut of it. And I think it was like the merch cut was like 80-20. Like we got to keep 20%. And we're just like, it just wasn't even worth it. We were just like, you know what? For one show, fuck it. Let's just go play the show and get the fuck out of here. But there was
I don't know how to do a Russian voice,
people
but
at
I'm
the show.
like,
It was crazy.
Great show, fellas. Hey, how about you give us 300 of those CDs?
Yeah.
300 of those
take whatever you
records.
want, sir. Yes, sir.
You guys got any cassette tapes?
I remember the cops tried to confiscate Pepper Keenan's leather jacket just because they liked his jacket. They're like, give us your jacket. It's like, no, you try to take Pepper Keenan's jacket. They learned real quick that ain't happening.
Oh, man. Fucking insane, dude.
I know.
Was the show kind of like that old, I saw footage of when Metallica and Black Crowes and who else? There was somebody else.
Oh, that was the Monsters of Rock. It was, I mean, there wasn't a million people there or anything, but there was about 40,000 people there, and it was fucking crazy. Like people were like shooting off Roman candles in the crowd. This was an indoor arena show too. Oh. So like, yeah, like flares and Roman candles were going off. People like made their own flags and were waving them. Like, I mean, giant flags, like 20 by 20, like just huge flags. People were like waving on like, 40-foot PVC pipes. Like it was nuts, man. And everyone at the show left there just completely satisfied with the experience.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it really was. And also St. Petersburg too is just a beautiful city. Just very colorful. I guess it's mostly gray, but the things that are colorful are over the top colorful, like the Cathedral of the Resurrection and things like that. It's just a beautiful architecture and just wonderful, wonderful city.
Yeah, dude. What's the name of that Instagram? Look at this Russian.
I don't know. I haven't seen that,
dude. It's the best fucking Instagram, man. It's fucking hilarious. First of all, it's like people driving and it's crazy, and then just how people get fucking plastered. Oh man, it's insane. They people are wrestling bears and everything like that. It's just.
All right, I'll have to check it out.
I'll send you a link, man. There's some fucking really good ones. Yeah,
but tell me what you got going on these days,
dude. I'm playing with Evan DePrima. And, who played in Royal Thunder. But before Royal Thunder, we were doing an instrumental band called Stallone. And
that was a great band, too. I love Stallone.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. We, it was kind of like a side project while I was doing Monstro. And we played locally just so I could keep my chops up. And, dude, it turned out to be something really cool. So then after that, we were together for a little bit, and then Evan joined Royal Thunder, which are a great band. And, he was doing that for a couple of years, and then I did Killer Be Killed with Troy and Max from Sepultura. And then we, he left Royal Thunder, and at that time I was just, kind of hanging out, waiting for the next gig. And, dude, we decided to get the band back together, but then we just, we felt that the sound changed, and we just, we recorded a bunch of tracks, like right away. It was cool because we did like a 30-hour practice when I went to visit him in Atlanta. At that time, I was living in Miami, and I just became a dad, so I got to go on a little break, go up there, visit some of my favorite places, and then record. And within like a week, we already had like 8 songs. So it was really cool. So it's awesome. Yeah. So then, we finally pieced it together, and we decided to ask a couple of friends to sing on the tracks. So the first person that sang on the track was Paul Masvidal from the band Cynic, who also played in Death back in the day. And dude, the track's called Stormbringer, and it's a fucking jammer, man. It's super cool. And also Troy from Mastodon, Troy Sanders, he sang on a song called Blue Giant. So we put out an EP called Maiden Voyage, and that's available through Brutal Panda Records. And dude, it's a really cool project, man. And right now we're in the process of writing some stuff, and we have more tricks in our bag for everybody.
Hell yeah, man. That's awesome, dude. I cannot wait to hear it. Do you mind if we play a track from the EP?
Yeah, man. You could play Stormbringer with Paul Masvidal singing from it.
Oh, hell yeah. God damn it, Juan. You're one of my favorite people, man.
Dude, I love you too, man. I love you, man. It's so funny because right now I'm like hearing your voice, and I'm talking into a computer also, and I just feel like I don't know where to hug. I'm like waiting to give a hug.
I feel like you're right here.
Yeah.
I know. One day soon, we'll be hugging.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna hug you right to death, man. I promise.
Definitely, man. Definitely.
Thanks so much for tuning into The Highway this week. A big shout out to Reverend Guitars, Railhammer Pickups, and Earthquaker Devices. If you liked what you heard, you can follow where you can follow, subscribe where you can subscribe, and if you want to go one step further, you can support us on Patreon at The Highway with Kyle Shutt. For a few bucks a month, you can help us keep this party going, get early access to next week's episode, and even get yourself a shout out.